Hi, I'm CR Hero. I'm the Vice President of Environmental Affairs for Meritage Homes, and I wanted to take 5 minutes to walk you through what I'm sitting in here, which is a Sustainability and Energy Efficiency Learning Center. We built this for realtors to help them understand all the changes that are happening both in existing homes and the retrofit towards better energy efficiency, and in new homes and things builders are incorporating into their building process that really add value to your customer. But what is really important with what we're going to walk through over the next 5 minutes is that it's not about all the widgets. It's not about low E2 coatings and LEDs. What it's about is how these things translate into benefits for your customers and how your ability to differentiate between really substantive, better built construction and maybe flashy marketing can help you differentiate yourself in a marketplace that's changing very quickly to incorporate some really good building practices and some that are quite honestly a little bit more marketing. So I'll walk you through some of the main things that are changing in homes today and how they benefit customers. Because ultimately what this is about is getting your customers more, getting them better value, giving them a more comfortable home, and getting things reduced that don't add any benefit. Like this particular home has a different type of insulation and it reduces the heating and cooling cost by 50%. So it makes the home more comfortable. It actually makes the home healthier. But the main thing is it cuts your utility bills down with all the things in this particular home by 50%. And so these are things that help a customer either stretch and buy a larger home, get more amenities, in a new home, get more upgrades in design center, and their monthly cost of ownership can actually be less. So let's walk through some of the basic components that you'll see out there, from windows to lighting to appliances, and talk about what really helps your customer live better and some things you should understand and ask questions of from existing homes and other new homes to make sure your customers get the best home, and importantly for you, make sure you've got the tools to be a resource for your customers so that whether they're buying a new home or they're thinking about reselling their existing home, they look to you to help them navigate these issues. So one of the most common things you'll see in new homes and retrofit is that windows have really evolved in the building science that go into the glazing and the framework. So in common older homes, when you're looking at resale, you'll see a lot of aluminum-based and single-pane windows. And just like these signs say, the big issue here is that heat can really move through these windows and ends up being, one, a source of high heating and cooling cost for your clients, and two, a source of big discomfort. So if you've got a beautiful room with a bunch of windows in an older home, that room will likely be hot in the summertime and cool in the wintertime. And what happens is when people live in them, they end up having to adjust their lifestyle so that they're not in those rooms in the summertime in the peak afternoon heat hours or in the wintertime at night when it could be really cold and drafty. In new homes, one of the big changes is these frames have gone from aluminum to fiberglass. And the old fiberglass windows started to get brittle and crack and wear and got themselves a bad name, but the new pull-truded fiberglass, really durable, really dependable, and a much better construction quality. So you'll see in new construction that this is a normal design feature. In retrofit, in an existing home, they may be pulling out their old single-pane aluminum windows and upgrading them to these vinyl windows. One of the next improvements is in this glass. By adding the second pane, and some are filled with argon, you get much less energy going through these windows. So they're much warmer in the wintertime and much cooler in the summertime, which not only translates into reduced heating and cooling costs, but a lot more ability in those large glassed-in rooms to enjoy the time spent there, so that they don't become spring and fall rooms, they become truly four-season rooms, because this is really doing a better job making them comfortable and saving the clients money. The advanced building science has gone from the old aluminum through the old fiberglass to what you're hearing called low E windows, low E2 windows, low E3 windows. And what it is, it's a combination of all the advancements that we're going to talk about today in building science. It's really good insulation. They actually will put thermal breaks in these frames so that the inside is the temperature of the inside regardless of what the outside is. in this glass, not only is it 2-pane, but it's specially coated with something that reflects heat. And so in the wintertime, it keeps that heat on the inside of the home, keeps the home warmer, both making the home more comfortable and greatly reducing the heating and cooling cost. And not only does it keep the heat in the summertime, it keeps the heat out. So it will reflect that heat back out, doing the same thing, making the home in the summertime much cooler, much more comfortable, and greatly reducing utility cost. One of the great benefits of these coatings is their UV coatings. So not only do they control energy transfer, but they actually block the UV rays that come into the home that'll fade pictures, that'll fade furniture, that'll fade carpet. And a lot of homes, if you've got a big glass window in front of a stained wood floor, you'll bleach that wooden floor out if you've got this older technology. So the best thing for your customers to understand is that in an older home, if somebody has spent the time to upgrade it to a better window, it'll greatly reduce the operating cost and make that home more comfortable. The other thing to understand is if you're looking at homes that have single pane aluminum windows, they're going to be less comfortable. At some point, they're actually going to start to impair the value of that home, and it's reasonable to assume that at some point the customer who buys an existing home with old windows will have to incur the cost of upgrading it, and those upgrade costs are substantial. That's why it's best that somebody either has already incurred those costs, or if you're looking at existing construction, that putting in the right windows, whether it's a high energy efficiency builder such as Meritage Homes, or whether it's a kind of code-built home builder, that the buyers select options to really upgrade these windows because they pay for themselves in savings month after month in heating and cooling costs, and really make the home more comfortable and more enjoyable to live in. One of the things that's the easiest to do, whether buying an existing or a new home, is upgrading the lights, because CFL and LED upgrades tend to have the same socket, so that you can simply pull out an old incandescent bulb and replace it with an energy efficient lighting source. But the big question is just why? Why is the industry, why is the government really pushing this new type of lighting? And the best way to think about it is to think about how an incandescent light works. So one of these old incandescent lights are 100-year-old technology. And what it does is it consumes, let's say it's a 100-watt bulb, so it consumes 100 watts. 10 watts of it are light. 90 watts are wasted as heat. That's why back in the 70s and 80s, they'd make easy bake ovens with them, because old incandescent lights are a really poor source of converting energy to light. And that's why we're converting over, because not only can a CFL make the same amount of light using 75% less energy, and an LED make the same amount of light using 90% less energy, they also don't make the heat. So the heat that's emitted by these two lights is so much less, you actually will see a reduction in your air conditioning bill in the summertime, because you don't have these incandescent light bulbs making all these little tiny easy bake ovens all over your house. So it makes, once again, your house more comfortable, reduces your monthly cost, and works better. This light lasts 10 times longer than an incandescent light bulb. This LED lasts 133 times longer. So it lasts longer, it works better, it costs less, and it makes less waste heat that you're just running your air conditioning to compensate for. So all in all, the reason we're updating lighting is it works better. And the great news is, regardless of whether you're looking at an old home or a new home, the cost to upgrade to CFL at least is really reasonable. Upgrading to CFL pays for itself in 9 months, and it's nothing but benefit after that. LEDs, while they're expensive now, they're coming down quickly throughout the country. So this is going to become a really reasonable source in the near future. And if you've got vaulted ceilings or tough to get to spots, the fact that they last so long, it's a great option for those spots. So it's not necessarily a differentiator and something that should change your buyer's decision or what you're helping your buyer guide themselves towards, but it's definitely something to understand, because if you've got somebody that's converted to CFLs, or you've got a builder that offers CFL as an option or a package, it's a great opportunity to really improve the way that home functions and will really benefit you. Another big piece of having an existing home that's been upgraded or not, or a new home and the potential options of it, are appliances. From your dishwashers, through your laundry machines to your refrigerators, there's a great disparity in the energy a appliance will consume over its lifetime. The great news is every appliance will have these energy guides. So through an Energy Star program, it's a great idea to look at what the estimated yearly operation cost, and the range on it will really tell you what is available. So if there is an option that goes all the way down to $20 a month in average operating costs, it means there's appliances out there that can cost that little. Now, for a dishwasher, for a washing machine, for a refrigerator, those appliances can represent 20% of the energy bill every month. And cutting them in half, cutting them in a quarter, will really pay dividends over the life that a customer would own that home. And so a home that's been retrofitted and the appliances updated to include energy efficient appliances, or a builder that includes a standard or has them as an option, it's great to understand that what those option costs or what any incremental cost that the home bears because of its upgraded appliance package versus its savings. Because often the savings are much greater than any cost incurred and pays for the better appliances. Because not only do Energy Star appliances cost less to operate, they actually work better. So for example, this washing machine will get clothes cleaner, use a third the water and half the energy of an average washing machine. So your consumers get a better functioning appliance that may pay for itself or may actually be a profit to them month after month in saving them monies off the utility bill. It's common that when people think of energy efficiency and sustainability built into homes or having used homes retrofit to that, that people think of better windows, better appliances, better lighting. What's often overlooked is the impact of better fixtures throughout the home. So these high performance faucets certainly don't remove any of the aesthetics, but this particular faucet will consume half of the water but give you the same textile feeling. So your hands get just as clean, you feel just as much volume, but it's got a built-in aerator and it disperses the water and adds pressure to it so that you get the same feeling using half the water. This is a dual actuated commode, which means that you can choose how much water. It can be an ultra low flow if you don't have a lot of solids, and a low flow if you've got a lot of solids, and the entire thing was designed to completely evacuate using a lot less water, so you get all the function you need without wasting water. That shower head behind me also is the same as this in that it's ultra low flow, it's high performance, it uses half the water, but gives you a higher pressure, gives you a higher dispersal, is better engineered so that you get a great sensation in showering, you get plenty of water to rinse your hair and to wash your body with, but you're using half the water. And what's subtle is not only you saving in your water cost and therefore your sewer cost, but you're also saving the energy in heating that water up. If you're using half the water for your shower, you're cutting your hot water heating in half. And hot water heating in a home can be 10 to 15% of the average monthly utility bill. So better fixtures, all the great aesthetics, all the great functionality can greatly reduce the cost of running a home with no compromises to the buyer, just saves money. It's part of understanding benefits to your customer through better green features like appliances and lighting and windows is those things. One of the more difficult parts is the construction practices employed by the builder of the home. Whether it's an existing home or a new home, the construction practices, although it's a lot more difficult because it's hidden inside the walls, are a critical point to understanding how that home is going to live, how much that home is going to cost the buyer, and really the quality of the home left when they go to resell it. So an example here, this is a cutout of a wall system, and the framing system is just the way this wall is built and insulated reduces the heating and cooling cost by 50% in this home. And that's because this home is built with polyurethane spray foam, and the wall's got a staggered frame and thermal break. This polystyrene underneath the stucco acts as insulation, so it's got a continuous layer of insulation. This is orientated strand board, which gives really good structural rigidity. This is a 6-inch wall cavity, so there's 6-inch stringers on either side of windows and doors, which make it a very strong, less prone to cracks, vibrations, and shifting wall structure. And then the framing between this is staggered so that it actually has a thermal break like in the windows, so less heat can come through in the summertime and less heat can escape in the wintertime. Why I tell you all this is that it's really important, because not only is this home going to resell better, last better, be more durable, but it's going to be much more comfortable to the people living in it. By sealing the home, having a lower infiltration value, this home is less drafty, it lets less dirt and bugs in, it's more comfortable, and importantly, when you go out and you finally sum all of these things together and think about what is this home costs to operate in utilities and gas and water in comparison to a conventionally built home or a 10-year-old home or a 20-year-old home, this home with all of its components will consume half the water and half the energy. And a big piece of that is this shell. You'll hear new home builders talking about the thermal envelope, and that's how it's framed, how it's insulated, how the windows are, what sort of drainage plane, what sort of additional components are wrapping this house that separate the occupants in their conditioned home from the outside environment. And it's really important to understand, is it 2x4 on 16? Is it 2x6 on 16? Is it 2x6 on 24? This is a hybrid staggered frame, energy efficient wall. So understanding the construction of the wall, the type of insulation, is a big piece of understanding how this home will perform and how the home will live throughout the lifetime of the home, why people occupy it. And what's really important about that is homes that outperform the expectations of the buyer means you're going to get better referrals and you're going to have a customer for life. A home that promises a bunch of things that doesn't deliver means you're going to have an unhappy buyer and you're not going to get those referrals and you're not going to get that second swing at selling that home and continuing on with that buyer as a customer. I mentioned it, so I wanted to take a quick minute to talk about changes in insulation inside of wall cavities and inside of attics. It's not as relevant to the retrofit market because it'd be very expensive to tear down the drywall to get to the wall cavities to spray in polyurethane spray foam and replacing old fiberglass insulation. But in the new construction market, this is really becoming something that is changing the way new homes work. And the reason it is when you put in polyurethane spray foam, it expands. And then when it expands, it gets in and it wraps electrical boxes and it wraps around plumbing and it wraps around wires. And what it's doing is it's better sealing and better filling the walls in the attic with insulation. So it's better quality of filling the cavity, but importantly, spray foam doesn't allow air movement. And when you seal in all those nooks and crannies and details and you stop air movement, you're stopping the uncontrolled movement of conditioned air out of your home and the uncontrolled inlet of outside air with dust and bugs and pollution back into the home. So this makes a home cleaner and healthier. It makes it much more comfortable because you're not getting hot and cold spots around leaks. And this alone reduces heating and cooling costs by 50%. So in places where either as an option or as a standard, builders are going in new construction to spray polyurethane foam insulation, it's a tremendous difference in the way this home will live and a tremendous reduction in the heating and cooling cost of a home. So it's important to understand how much you'll save over a 30-year mortgage versus the option cost, if it is an option, in potential new homes. Because this, when it's included like we do, is a tremendous saver of energy and a tremendous cost reducer in the operating cost of a home. And it makes a home more comfortable and healthier and really improves the quality of life of the people living in these homes. Piece we'll talk about today in energy efficient green building is the advancements that are going on in renewable energy. So there's a tremendous market penetration in the retrofit market with leased solar. And a lot of new builders are offering included or optional solar in new communities. And there is a tremendous difference and some challenges in helping the customer understand what's really good for them and what may encumber a property more than it's adding benefit. So this is an example of a flush mounted solar system made by Echo Solar System. This panel is a basic gray 2035 panel. And one of the first differences is that this panel makes a different amount of energy is the panel that was produced 6 months ago, and a vastly different amount of energy is panels that were produced 5 years ago. So one of the keys is understanding how much energy the array makes. So you don't want to just know the size, that it's got 9 panels or 12 panels, but you want to find out what is the total rating of that system, and you can do that through either getting a utility bill and looking at how much energy that system made that last month, or you should be able to get some technical data from the installer that says this is an X watt, whether it's a 2.0 kilowatt system or 3.0 kilowatt system. It will tell you how much energy is being made, and obviously therefore how much utilities and the value of that utilities that this solar system is producing. Another piece of renewable energy that's common in the market today is solar water heating. So as opposed to kind of this glass matrix, there'll be black panels that are directly hooked to a water heater, and the reason that is a water heater consumes about 10% per month of the annual utility bill. And if you can make free hot water off of your roof, which most solar thermal water heaters can, you can reduce your utility bill 10%, and it usually pays for itself. The question is how old is that system? When was this installed? Because an old system can corrode, it can leak. There's old glycol systems, which means you've got a chemical that is toxic that's being pumped through the system, and then you've got a heat exchanger in the garage. All those things should be inspected in a home inspection. But once again, the most important thing is how to convert this renewable energy into benefits for the customer. So let me show you what a system looks like out on the roof, and then let's talk about how this all distills down into utility savings by really getting to the details of what all this means. Because all this should mean a more comfortable home, a more durable home, a home that will have a higher resale value, and importantly, a home that's going to save a customer money month after month in your utility bills. And there's some quick, easy ways to find that out.
What we're looking at here is one of many examples of renewable energy. And what's important to understand is for every type of solar system, there's a different value to the consumer. So what you're looking at here is an example of a flush-mounted new system. Those panels are what they call 2035s, which means peak energy production is 235 watts. And this is just one of many. You've seen solar systems that are mounted above the roof, that are shingles, that are existing as patio covers, that stand alone, and rack systems. And all those systems produce energy in slightly different ways. So what's really important is, one, the aesthetic impact to your customer. Make sure that they're installed in places that doesn't impair the enjoyment of the home due to the aesthetics of the solar system. And two, how much energy it's going to provide. And for that, you need to really look at the utility bills. So understanding how much energy these make directly will translate to how much offset in cost, and therefore when you look at the total cost of ownership of this home, how much value that solar system is going to provide your potential buyers.
One of the best things about all of these components is they distill themselves down into very fundamental things like savings. All the features we talked about today, better windows, better lighting, most of them translate into energy savings every month. And so whether you're looking at a new build with new energy efficiency features included in the construction practice, or you're looking at a home that's retrofitted itself to include better energy efficiency in the windows and the HVAC or renewable energy, that should be readily available in one of two ways. One, in a new home build, there should be a third-party certification that gives itself a HERS score, a Home Energy Rating Service score. And that should demonstrate the percent of energy saved every month in the operating of the home, and that should be able to be translated into dollars every month that is reduced from a comparable home without those features. And one of the unique features of a home with renewable energy, such as this one, is you actually will normally have two meters. It's called net metering, and one is tracking the consumption of energy by the users, and the other is tracking the production of energy. Now, the bill that you receive every month is this minus this, but the nice thing about this is when we looked at other possible solar panel configurations, this is exactly what you need to know to understand, with all the various types of solar panels out there, what the value is of the solar system, because this will tell you every month how much energy it produces in savings.